What is up, YouTube? As incredibly rare as it is that we would get a golf buggy issue, we do have an issue today with one of our TourFit buggies. The customer has a noise coming from the left hand side of the buggy. I believe it's in the bearing in the gearbox, which has maybe gone dry, or it's been faulty from the factory, who knows. What we're going to do, because some other people on YouTube have been asking to see about a gearbox strip and rebuild of a golf buggy, so I'm going to do that in this video. We'll go step by step, strip it out of our buggy, find out what the issue is, show you how to strip the motor from the gearbox, rebuild that up, and yeah, that's enough talking, so let's get on with it.
Just taking the cover off so we can access the battery area to start to get the back cover away from the buggy here. There's two plugs under the panel for the lights and for the charger socket. They need to be disconnected. That's the charger one, the lights one. Two holes for the frame bolts through, and the 4 bolts holding the gearbox onto the frame. 2 on each side, 2 left side, 2 right side. Get the wheels off first here, and then we'll get them undone. Just drop the motor near the floor, because if it fell from that height, you would destroy the motor. So very carefully taking the 4 bolts out, just rest the motor down onto the ground at this point. Here's the motorway. There's a plug there for the brake signal that has to be disconnected, and your L bracket, U brackets holding the motor onto the frame. These 4 bolts will remove this cover that effectively holds the 2 gearbox sides together. When this cover comes off, you'll see the inner part of the bearing there. The roller bearing is inside, is intact. split the gearbox. Different size bolts, they just set them aside. That's the spring inside the rubber gasket holds on to the So that's the bearing halves have come out. That bearing is meant to be one piece with the roller bearings on the inside, and then that's the roller bearing that holds on the centre, but you can completely come apart. Just breaking the Allen bolts here to allow the brake to come away, and then we're going to give the brake a bit of a clean, because you'll see that the brake actually is causing a bit of noise when it runs in the back of the buggy. It must be a little bit of dirt or something that's got inside it.
So it's actually day 2 on this, although it's all in one video. I had an issue with the bearing. So the bearing that was in the gearbox, there's a needle roller bearing. It was bespoke to the gearbox. So sometimes Chinese manufacturers will just do that. They'll make a casting and then they'll make a bearing to fit. Not available in the UK. We've got bearings on order from our supplier, who has kindly got them from the gearbox manufacturer, but because I need to get this golf buggy back to the customer for the weekend, we had a local engineering firm make us a brass bearing which will sit over the top of the bearing cage. The old bearing cage is absolutely perfect fit, and hopefully this is going to press down in to the casting for the gearbox, and that will allow us to get this shaft then reinstalled The engineering company believe this will outlast any bearing that would have been in there originally. I guess it's just maybe down to friction. Maybe there's going to be a little bit more resistance on this than there would be on a needle roller bearing, but it's hardly going to matter with a 20:1 gearbox. It's got plenty of power. So again, less talking. Let's get this banged back into the gearbox, get it built up, get the grease in it, and get it back in the buggy for the customer for tomorrow. So we'll use some bearing grease here, and we'll just repack. We're going to repack some of the gearbox grease. So now that the bush is in, we need to put this C-clip back in. C-clip in place, that'll hold the bush in place, and then the rubber dirt gasket, that's to try and protect any dirt or debris or sand or anything going in there. So that's that. And then our shaft, our drive shaft, then will pop up from the back. Just locate inside the bush. So that's our drive shaft installed. It's nice and smooth. Pop the bearing on this side. Pop the bearing on this side. Pop our drive pin through there, and then rebuild up the gearbox. So actually, in reality, it was a lot easier to hammer this. I think it's a crown wheel. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Into position, and then drop the gearbox down on top of the other gears here. So that should fit in just nicely, nice and snug. So what we'll do is we'll give this a clean up. Put the bolts back in, torque them all down, and then that is ready now to be bolted back into the buggy. So the motor also has a drive pin here, and that has to line up with the drive pin and the bush or push drive, if you like. So there's not a direct connection between your motor and your gearbox. So this is your push drive. So you'll have a groove on each side, and that takes any vibration from going directly through the two. So you can put it on either side, pop it in the gearbox side, in here, and then show your motor up to that. Almost there. I'll pop this little cover back on. This is your brake, engage and disengage. And then we've got this little wire here. So that's us. It's getting rather heavy now that it's fully assembled, but that is the fully assembled transaxle motor brake assembly ready to be bolted back in. So let's get it back in the buggy.
Gearbox, just to lift the gearbox off the ground, so it's a wee bit easier to get the bolts in. Obviously quite heavy working on it from underneath. The eagle eyes will see that the positive is actually on the negative and the negative is on the positive, but this is the way the motor manufacturers obviously set this up to run in the correct orientation. So that's the way that it is. It doesn't really matter. look, that's it for this video. Just gonna tighten down the wheel nuts from earlier, pop the seat on and give it a bit of a test drive. It seems to be driving fine, no noise like there was before. Yep, so any comments, leave them down below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And as always, like and subscribe for more of these videos. Catch you in the next one.